We're up to the Tez Zayin Amud Aleph, the first Mishnah top of the page. Okay, we have three cases in this Mishnah. The previous Mishnah, we had a number of cases, and all of them we said they're not a valid shua. But here we say that case number one. About 6-7 lines on the page. Shvua loy oichelach. So I make a shvua that I will not eat by you. It's pretty straightforward. But a shvua that I will not eat by you, so therefore it's a valid shvua. Next case is if he said ha shvua she'oichelach. Now ha shvua, which we had before, ha carbon can be interpreted as either saying I'm swearing in the life of a carbon, and by neder you can say that. By shvua, it doesn't make sense. Nobody swears in the life of a carbon. By shvua, you swear the Avish's name, not in the life of a carbon. So therefore, so what are you actually saying? Only one thing he's saying. He's saying, I'm swearing that if I eat by you, it'll be a shvua. In other words, I am not allowed to eat by you. So there's no two alternatives here. There's only one way of understanding it. That you're saying, if I eat by you, I will swear that everything becomes asur. So in other words, it's another shvua, another form of saying, I don't want to eat by you. And the third one is loy shvua, loy oichelach. I'm not. It's not a shvua what I don't eat by you. In other words, what I will eat by you is a shvua. And even though the author of the last mission, the previous mission of Meir, so the author of this mission of Meir as well, and Meir does not believe in inferences, but by a shvua he does. And the three possible reasons why, but most are trying to say because shvua is more strict than a neder, especially use Avish's name, or as the Ran explains, because by a shvua, a mayor's moide, we make inferences, and that is because only by money matters. Those are Meir's say, because we learn from Reuben, do we say that by money matters, we don't make inferences, you have to spell it out. Or even an issa that's tied to money, like a neder, because you're making an object also. When it comes to shvua, it devolves on the person itself. There's no money involved at all. So therefore, it's not considered a moment, and even a mayor's moide miklalav at says the Gemara, miklal the hashvua she'oichelach. So what are we interpreting the words when you say hashvua she'oichelach? You can take it translate literally, shvua, what I eat by you. What does that even mean? So with time, it must be the loy achil of mashma. What you're trying to say is, I swear, I'm not going to eat by you. Even though the word you used was, I swear that I will eat by you. That's what it sounds like. But what it means is, I swear, I'm not going to eat by you, and that's what's about shua. So that's my question. What I mean, let me ask a question. So you're interpreting words, yes, as if no. Let me ask a question. It says, clearly, but we have the Shabbos Shtein Shemarba, Tumas Shtein Shemarba. Those there's two, I guess, headline isurim. And there are a number of tangents or corollaries. And we said by Shabbos, by Tumah, and by Shavuot. And it says the Shavuot is Shtayim Shenarba, the two primary Shavuot that extends to 4. So what is it? The Torah says Lahora Laheitu. So Sha'oichel Sh'loichel. What's an example of Lahora you won't eat? I swear that I won't eat. Yeah, exactly. And the opposite is I won't eat. The order of the Mishnah is will eat, won't eat. So no, these are two examples of two opposite ends of the spectrum. And then it says she'achalti shelo achalti. Now that's clear. I did eat or I didn't eat. That's a clear. When you said you did eat, you know exactly what you mean. And when it said I did not eat, you know exactly what you mean. So when it says I will eat or I won't eat, it's clear the two opposite ends of the spectrum. One is I will eat, one I won't eat. So clearly that oichel means I will eat. And yet you're now Mishnah, you're telling me the word when you said shvur she'oichelach, it means I won't eat. How can that be? In the way this Mishnah explains it, you see, eat and won't eat. It's just like I did eat and I didn't eat. It's just like there's clearly two opposites. So to eat and won't eat are two opposites. So she'oichel means what? I swear that I will eat. And in our Mishnah, you just interpreted hashvur she'oichelach means I swear that I won't eat. What's going on here? So I'm going to buy say, look at the context. Look at the context. What caused you? What's the trigger that caused you to swear? Sha'oichel can mean two different things. Either it could mean I will eat, or it's like more like a question mark. I swear you think I will eat. So it's a lousy chazan, so therefore he didn't come out right. And later on, exactly. And later on he tells us what he meant. The question is, does the wording entertain that? So Abaye says, nope. You have to look at the circumstances and go as follows. They were pleading with him, they were pestering him, nudging him, lechel to eat. He said, yeah, I'll eat. And then they continue pestering him. Then he said, Shvua, Sha'oichel. He said, I swear I'll eat. And I was, leave me alone. I said, the achila mashma. From that context, he told him he's going to eat, and then he swears to eat. It means he'll really. He says, no, I'm not going to eat. I'm not going to eat. And they keep on nudging him, eat. And finally, and they say, I swear I'll eat. What do you think he means? He meant, I'm not going to eat. You think I'm going to eat by you? I'm not going to. I already told you. So Rabbi says, look at the context. Rabbi Ashi says, no. Well, Rabbi says, you don't look at the context, but rather, she'oichel, the word she'oichel. It doesn't say oichel, it says she'oichel. She'oichel can also be she'i oichel. The shvua, she'i oichel kama, could mean she'i oichel, I won't eat by you. So right now, the Gemara thought he actually said the word she'i oichel. If he says shvua, she'i oichel, that I can't eat, so obviously, clear. The Mila Memra, what's the Chiddush? Nay. Mali, I would have thought, make him Lishnu, the Iskala, I would have thought, She'i Eichel, not normal ways to speak. Usually, Loy Eichel, Eini Eichel, She'i Eichel, maybe you really want to say She'i Eichel, just can't speak Hebrew properly, or is a slip of the tongue. Kamashla, no, She'i Eichel is also accepted as those words, She'i Eichel, I will not eat. Abai Lamatam Karabashi, Rabbi doesn't look at Rabashi's posh. It's like Tani She'i Eichel. Where's the mission to use the word She'i? It says She'i Eichel, not She'i Eichel. So that's why Abai doesn't like Rabashi's shot. But Ravashi doesn't know about it. Ravashi never heard about it. Why didn't he agree with it? Because somebody holds shel oichel. If you're going to start telling me that words have two meanings and they showing the circumstances, then even if you say the word shel oichel, also can have two different meanings. Nami mashma shtei l'shaynis. And according to you, we should look at it every time there's a neder. We should look at context because it depends how you sing the song. Something like this. Let's say the nutrition to eat. I swear I won't. He said first, I won't eat. And then then he says, I swear. Just the context tells us what you're trying to say. Leave me alone. I'm not eating. So whether he says she'oichel I will eat, which in this context you're telling me means I won't eat. Bein she'lo oichel. Adin achil mash should be the same thing. Achil mash, but means I will eat. He's trying to say what? Maybe he's saying that I will eat. The equal to you could also say that the shvua, when he said I won't eat, you can say that when he said it could mean I will eat, or it could mean I won't eat, depending on how you look at the conversation. Is he changing his mind? Is he agreeing? Every time if someone says something, according to you, if context plays a major role, then we continuously change. Then words don't mean anything anymore. It's context, and you can't do that because context constantly will interpret. Yeah.
Do you take the whole sentence exactly as it, word for word, or do you?
That's Yodis. Yodis is incomplete.
Insert a comma or something.
Yeah. That's we had a mayor before. It said carbon loyachlach. We put a preposition. Therefore, I want you. We added a few words. Yeah, but there's like two separate sentences. Hot carbon, or light carbon, or lit carbon. So we touch that not to be meant no carbon. I don't even use. It's like a comma. We put a preposition. Yeah. Because it depends on how you sing. Do you make it a statement or do you make it a question, a rhetorical question? I won't eat by you. Of course I'll eat by you. If context can change completely, radically, the meaning of the word you say. Everything can be interpreted both ways if you look at the context. If it's a statement, if it's in a question mark. Ella Tana Paska, Tana decided no. Words mean something. Words are like bullets. They mean something. We don't go stand there and reinterpret your words based on the context. If he said she'oichel da'achil mash, you meant to eat. If he said she'lo oichel, is lo oichel mash, you meant he won't eat. Clear.
I think they're both a bit right. Someone used to tell us. He used to say, I see as a tailor, Schneider has outside in the windows. My name is Fink. What do you think? I make the suits for nothing. So it comes in and orders 3 suits. Comes to pick them up, and the guy charges him a fortune. He says, it says in the window, you make suits for nothing. He says, it doesn't say any such thing. He says, look at the sign. He says, my name is Fink. What do you think? I make your suits for nothing.
Exactly.
You got Ken and Zetz in
here. Yeah, exactly. For example, they said eat, and he said I won't eat. So we're assuming I won't eat, and the Shua won't eat. No, but maybe he meant to say I won't eat.
That's
I won't eat.
Yeah.
No, that's how
he said it.
But he's saying let's go further. Even when he say you don't eat, maybe he really meant to eat. You're saying to eat means I don't eat. I'm saying that even if he said not just get to the Shua stage, even if he said I don't eat, maybe he meant I don't eat. I won't eat. And then he makes a shvur to that. Let's just board that again. Maybe it's a rhetorical question. I will eat. Of course, I will eat.
Can I ask?
Yes.
If you're meant to be so careful with your words, why are these comments being so almost using words flippantly?
We're actually trying to understand how people talk. Remember, the Nedarim has to do with lashon b'nei, the way people talk. So I think that they're trying to work out the psyche of a person. How, when a person speaks, how clear are they in their mode of speech? Because afterwards, if you ask him what he said, he'll tell us what he thought. But that doesn't mean it, because in the Nedarim, words are very important as well, and the way people use these words. So, do people use these words in the context of, you want to say you will eat? Let's say, do people say I won't eat, or do people normally say I'll eat? I mean, how do people express themselves? And I guess that's more or less what Abaya and Rashi are arguing about. How common is it? Yeah, how common is it that people speak like in double Dutch, or or they just speak out clearly?
Maybe it was much more common in those days.
Could be. Also, Abaya and Rashi didn't live in the same times. Could very well be. And the Abaya's generation, people spoke this way, and the Rashi's generation, because Rashi was born, according to most, the day that Rava passed away. So they didn't really overlap. Mishnah. This is a chumrah in shvuos on the Nedarim. Now the very big Gemara is going to talk about the fact that it said the word chumrah. It sounds like the Nedarim also it's a vow, but shvuos is more strict. The shvuos will be from the Torah, for example, and by the Nedarim it's only the Rabban. And there's a chayim ben Nedarim shvuos, and there's a chumrah that the Nedarim has over shvuos. Ketzad, for example, Omar, if a person says koinim sukkah shani oisa, I forbid the sukkah for me from making, or lulav shani noitu. Interesting, by sukkah it doesn't say that I will sit in it, it says I will make. This is one of the rayas they bring, that by sukkah the mitzvah is not just to sit in it, but actually to build a sukkah as well. And it's a Mishnah Shruz will have a little bit of Yerushalmi, and the Alter Rebbe Shmuel and Kudzach and Reish Gimel in the laws of Neir Shabbos Kodesh use that as an example to explain the relationship of lighting the candle and the Shabbat Friday night. This is like and the fire that comes from it afterwards, like building a sukkah and sitting in there afterwards.
You don't make a bracha on doing sukkah because it's not the Gemara mitzvah. The Gemara mitzvah is when you sit in the sukkah.
That's what Alter Rebbe says. But the Yerushalmi actually says you do make a bracha. There's a long avenaz on this. But anyway, so this is one of the proofs that they bring. I'm not sure if they actually bring this proof of one of the Mishnah Shru's only, but they could have brought. Because it says here, he swears that the sukkah he won't build. And we're talking about here that even though there's a mitzvah to do it, you make the neder chal. There's no mitzvah to build a sukkah. Must be there's a mitzvah to build a sukkah. Koinim sukkah sha'ani ois. I forbid the sukkah that I should build. No, so I'm talking about the object here. Or lulav sha'ani noitel, the lulav that I will take with tefillin sha'ani maniach. Or the tefillin that I will wear. So the Nedarim also done it works. It's effective. The shvuos mutzah. When it comes to shvuos, it's we waited before. We already made a shvua on Har Sinai that we are going to do something. You cannot come along and make sure that I won't do it. So English boy in Lava mitzvahs. You cannot make a shvua to go against mitzvahs. How do we know that? The Gemara looks like. First, the Gemara asks, you use expression that the chumrah in shvuos over the Nedarim. Chumrah sounds like that Nedarim also there's a prohibition, but by shvuos it's strict. Meklal, the neder who, so it seems to me a neder it is, but it's not that awesome. When it says it's zeh is referring to the previous missions. These things that we said, shvua loy oichalach and all that is a shvua. And the previous mission that we talks about in the Nedarim, and there we say that the end carbon loy oichalach, how carbon loy oichalach mutter. So we see that, and the same three expressions by shvua is also that's what we do accomplish. The Mishnah we started today, Shavuot, it's also, and the Mishnah we learned yesterday that if you use the carbon, which is a neder expression, the same words, but it's from a neder, it's not a neder, right? So it's a chumrah and Shavuot and a darn. The previous Mishnah says mutter. Mutter means that not only is a mutter from the Torah, it's completely permitted. So it's not a chumrah in Shavuot of the darn. It's there's no neder there. Says the Gemara, chayim mekal the neder. It seems it's a neder, but Shavuot is stricter about mutter tani. It says in the Mishnah mutter. So the Gemara, as for either Babak Tani, you think that it's a continuation of the end of the Mishnah? No, it's talking about the beginning of that Mishnah where it says also, if you make a shvur that I won't sleep, that I won't talk, that I won't walk, over there it is also by shvur it's also mahatayr. That's I'm around, even though sleeping is not a tangible thing, but I won't sleep. But in the Nedarim, you can't make a neder that I won't sleep, because what's the neder going to fall on? There's nothing there. But that, as we learned yesterday, that Midrabanan there's still Bal Yachlim Lo Mahatayra. It's not a valid neder. Midrabanan it is. So therefore, there's a chumrah in Shavuot over the Nedarim Nedarim you also have to abide by it, but by Nedarim it's only midrabanan, and by Shavuos it's matter. Zeh chayme b'Shavuos Nedarim. This is the chumrah that Shavuos has over Nedarim. That's mahat Torah, even though it's not tangible, but I'm around. Chayme b'Nedarim b'Shavuos. Then the Mishnah says there's a chumrah by Nedarim b'Shavuos that you can ban yourself from performing mitzvahs. Avkana Master, Avkana was taught, Amar of Gidel, Amar Av Gidel name Rav, but Av Tivyuma Master, Av Tivyuma learned, Amar of Gidel Shmuel. Actually, Av Gidel said the name of Shmuel. Generally, we always have Rav Gidel saying the name of Rav. But Av Tivyuma says that this particular one was the name of Shmuel, and that is, how do you know that you cannot make a vow to say, I won't put on throne? Because it says in Pasuk as follows. It says, a person makes a nether or he makes a vow to prohibit himself. Lo yachel devara, he should not breach his words. He should not breach his words. So what do you mean devara, his words? Devara lo yachel, he cannot breach his words about his own personal things. Words that Hashem gave him, like you need to put on tefillin, and then you make a shvur that I won't put on tefillin. Those words don't have any meaning whatsoever, and if there's no iser of lo yachel, in other words, there's no shavua whatsoever in that particular case.
So,
yeah.
So you won't be over Yachal Dvara, but you'll be over on
what? There's no Easter of Neder a Shavua Shav, you'll be maybe over. You said Hashem's name, you made a Shavua in vain. There's no such thing as a Neder Shav, according to most Rishonim, but there's a Shavua Shav. But that's how we're talking about. But you're not over Yachal Dvara. You made a Shavua, I won't put on tefillin. And you must put on the tefillin, and you're not going to get malchus for breaching your shvur.
Of
Yachal, because you promised you won't put on tefillin.
But if you keep the shvur, you'll be over the mitzvah.
Yeah, 100%. So we're saying here, there's no shvur here. The shvur is not a shvur. It's not chal at all. There's no shvur. You said I won't put on tefillin. The shvur is meaningless. There's no such thing. If the shvur is meaningless, so then you might be over the shvur shav. You made a shvur in vain because it's not a shvur. Yeah. So the Gemara. So ask them a question. If so, neder. So with the same drasha we can make by neder. See, it says in the very same pasuk, Ishki yidu neder laHashem. It says in the pasuk, if a person makes a neder laHashem laYachad v'ora. So what? And neder. And how do you know by neder is different? Okay, so you know by shvua it's not chal. How do you know by neder is chal? So the pasuk says Ishki yidu neder laHashem. Even if your neder affects Hashem, in other words, you say, asking the tefillin, you're asking the sukkah. Nevertheless, you have to abide by your words. So we dash from the word la Hashem that your neder can include something that affects Hashem, and your neder is still a valid neder. So the Gemara, so that's a question. Shmuel and Ami, I'll find you another pasuk by Shmuel where it says Hashem Maksiv. It says in pasuk in that very same pasuk, the beginning of the pasuk, it says Oyi Shava Shvua. If you may, it says Oyi Shava Shvua. What do you got? Oyi Shava Shvua Hashem. It says you made a shvua. Now, it doesn't say Yishav Shmuel Hashem. It says the same La Hashem that you used to neder, the same La Hashem can be used for Shmuel, because Hashem is written right after Limdei Neder, and right before where it says Yishav Shmuel. So let's take the word La Hashem and carry it over to Yishav Shmuel and say that even if you make a shvur that affects Hashem, you have to abide by it. Says the Gemara, Nu Haksi by Yishav Shmuel. Let's take Hashem and put it there as well. So what's the difference? So Amar Abaye says, now even though Abaye adds one word, the word that he says is generally accepted than before. Hard is a difference. The difference in neder is as follows. By a neder, I'm talking about the object. Sukkah is also to me. So therefore, and nowhere does the Abish say on how see that the sukkah is bound for you. So therefore, we cannot give you to the permission to sit in the sukkah because you'll be over your words. But when it comes to a shvur, what are you saying? I will not put on tefillin. But you already made a shvur on Har that you will put on tefillin. You have a chiv on the person to put on tefillin. And therefore, the shvur is not chal. There's nowhere for a shvur to be chal. But by a neder, it is chal. That's what Abaye said. So what he adds is, it's not pasuk. It says, "Kiyin the neder la Hashem or Yishav shvur." So we're saying, put Hashem both ways. And then the end of the pasuk is la Yachad. So we're asking, why don't we just put Hashem both ways? So Abaye says, it's a svara. The difference in neder and shvur is a svara. Neder is on the chayfish, the shvur is on the person. The person we already swore and has seen that we're going to do the mitzvahs. The neder is on the object, and we cannot feed somebody something that's also to them. But Abaye adds one word which Rav is going to challenge, but that's really irrelevant to the svara that he said. What's that word? Amar Abaye, hod Amar hano asukavaya asad hano. Because he's saying, generally speaking, what do you mean asad the sukkah? If you don't mean the mitzvah, then what do you ask the sukkah? You meant you don't have the pleasure of sitting in the sukkah. and therefore you're answering the object. That's why it's chal. And there's no mitzvah on the sukkah that you should be in there. He said, I swear I won't have enough of the sukkah. It's on me, but I already have a shvur to make a sukkah.
I'm just picturing in my mind's eye Lubavitcher in the pouring rain sitting in the sukkah making a shvur that he's not going to have enough.
Exactly. Nobody's choishes for minutes he's having enough. Omar Rabba says, Rabba, what's he focusing on? Not about his answer, but the issue that Abai added one thing. He made a shvur that I won't have hana, and he made a neder that the hana is for me. If then why should the mitzvah be us? Says Rava, because mitzvahs are not meant to have hana, and even if the mitzvah of sukkah gives you pleasure, so what? Why should that be us? Because mitzvahs don't give the purpose of mitzvahs is not to give you hana, and therefore the pleasure that comes in the mitzvah is not counted as hana. So therefore, says a brother, if you would have said the hana of sukkah is also for me, even though you made that net, you could sit in the sukkah. Because mitzvah lav lahanas, you cannot sit in the sukkah the rest of the year, but sukkahs you can. Mitzvah lahanas nidu sukkah meant to give you hana. So Rav agreed to the Baya. Lahada Rav Hada Ama Yeshiva Sukkah line. Take away the word hana. If he says the sitting in sukkah is forbidden to me, Hadama Shur Shalaisha once said the sukkah. Here they point out sitting, not like the Mishnah says totally. So that's what the Rabbi says. Now the big machlek is showing. First of all, a lot of machleks, but mainly the Shana that's fine. Where what happens if you have when we say that the mitzvah lav lahanas? What about if the hana that you're having, not the mitzvah itself, it's what comes with the mitzvah. So like for example, that boiling hot day, exactly. You want to sit in the cool shade of the sukkah. So the sukkah, the mitzvah itself is not what's giving you the hana. It's the sitting. It's the don't do the mitzvah. Is that included in this mitzvah lav lahanas you do? And the many Rishonim hold that is included, many Rishonim hold it's not included. And even though the Rishonim hold that it is included, there's a machlek is there where the only b'shas mais of the mitzvah. Once you finish the mitzvah, for example, traveling in a spring, you said I don't want to. I'm answering hana from the spring. That's what you said. Or I'm answering the spring. And then you go in and it's boiling hot in the summer, and you jump in because you have to go to mikveh. But you only have to be there 30 seconds, and you're there 5 minutes. So those Rishonim will hold that the hana, the shas mitzvah, is not considered hana. What about you already sort of finished the mitzvah, but you're hanging around. How do you count that? Machlek is Rishonim. If it's from the mitzvah, that mitzvah, that's for sure. Then you have the famous Balamoy Rosh Hashanah that says, but a mitzvah the Rabbanon, like he talked about shofar, you're allowed to blow shofar because mitzvah. Even though I said I don't have any hana from you, you're allowed to blow shofar for me because mitzvah lav lahanas it. You're blowing me the sun. I use some nice notes there. It doesn't matter. But let's say he says well, it's a mitzvah the Rabbanon only. Then it would not. Let's say the second day of Shana, mitzvah the Rabbanon will be asur. Because with the Rabbanon, we don't say mitzvah lav lahanas into the Rabbanon aren't you give hana. Now, what exactly is the mitzvah lav lahanas? Because in other words, even though I expect to get Chaning and Eden, that's not that hana is not considered the hana that we asur. So you're allowed to. Anyway, so these are the machleks in the hand.
We have an image of tuvas. We said when the woman can decide to which kohen she wants to give the truma. The enjoyment of it's not a tangible thing.
It is. It's worth a shoulder plus. Remember, we learned that
like
how much would you pay? So that's called hana. How much would you pay somebody to convince her to give the truma to somebody else? You pay her a few prutas. That's what the value of that hana is. They can actually quantify that now. Very few cases you can quantify. And yeah, so I'm asking a quick question. Are they answering there's really no chumrah of a neder? No, so we're saying we're explaining. So what's talking the swatter? Why a neder is chal against mitzvahs and not sure not. But the neder, you're not addressing the mitzvah. You're addressing the object, and there's no mitzvah on the object that you should do a mitzvah with it. So and the neder addresses the object. If the neder is chal, and once it's chal, how can you now use it? You can't make a shvur on the chayfetz. Oh, big machlek is showing you do that. If you say a shvur on a chayfetz, is that considered a shvur or not? Is it a yad leneder? Is it a shvur? Or it's nothing. You use the word shvur. Big machlekes. Because that would be there's no chumrah of neder or shvur. So they answer those who say that there is a shvur. They say yes, but that's only if it's like a shvur b'lo neder. But the standard, the most common form of shvur is I won't do this. You can see how many rules there are, how the myriad of rules of tzos there are. Anyway, let me continue. You tell me we learn from here, and you use the logic because it's Lashem, and then you give me a logic to it. Why neder is that? Why we darshan Lashem only regarding neder, and we don't darshan Lashem regarding shvur? But we learned elsewhere differently. Mahaso nafka we learned from somewhere else. The Tanya we learned We learned as follows. Yochel, I would have thought, Nishba levatlas mitzvah. I would have thought if I made a shvur that I will not put on tefillin, and I went ahead and I put on tefillin, I would have thought Yochel Chai. Well, very nice you put on tefillin, but you just committed a vera. You made a shvur in vain. That's how I would have thought. Therefore, it says the pasuk clearly identifies what is the mitzvah shvur. The shvur is when you make a shvur and you utter with your lips lehora or leheitid, to either harm yourself as I won't eat, or I will improve myself, I will eat. Just like when you say I'm going to do something, I'm going to improve myself. Is rishus, and the Rishus talks about how you know it's only limited to rishus. Is afhara rishus. So too, when I'm going to harm myself, is only things that are optional. Yotzad, and therefore this excludes nishba levatlas hamitzvah. You made a shvur, I will not do the mitzvah. V'lei bittul, and you did not follow your shvur, and you had when I did the mitzvah. It's not optional whether you put on tefillin, for example, you don't put on tefillin. Therefore, it's not included. It's not a shvur at all, because only lahara lehetiv, only things that you can only swear about things that is optional and turn it into a obligatory. But you cannot take something which already have a chiyuv and change it. So why need two psukim? So we have two psukim now. We have lahara lehetiv by shvur, and we have the pasuk of lahashem, which refers to neder and not to shvur. And then you gave me a whole logic why. What do you need to lumudi for? The Gemara here, you do need to lumudi. Chadkra, one pasuk is limif today mikarbon shvur. Now one pasuk tells you that if you did it by mistake, you don't have to bring you don't bring a carbon shvur. Or bechad limif today milav the shvur. Because also a lav la yachal we get malchus for. The other pasuk tell you that you don't get the lav of la yachal dvari because there's no shvur when you make a shvur against the mitzvah. There's no shvur whatsoever. Lahar al laheitiv is talking about the shvur. It says v'asham being carbon. That pasuk talks about a carbon. Here it talks about lo yachal devarei. It's a lav, and therefore come to tell you that you put it from here and you put it from this. Okay, we'll stop over here.